VE300, I think it is, which is actually USB 3, so it's a lot faster.
Now, what's the price difference of the three? Is there much difference?
I don't know actually. I don't think I've actually seen anywhere selling it yet. I think it. Let's have a quick look.
Well, now didn't that company start out? I can't think of the name they was under, but didn't they start out under a different name and then kind of dropped it and somebody else picked it up?
Yeah, it was developed by another company, and basically Zalman brought them out, I think, or just that product from them. So we'll look here, see if I can see a price for the VE300.
And for the price of that thing, it's actually not a bad buy, I don't think.
I mean, for what it does, I mean the VE200, I think it cost me around £30. I mean, it's probably like double normal price of just a normal 2.5-inch caddy. But
if you did it in flash drives to isolate your ISOs, I think, am I correct? You could have 20 ISOs. You can select 20 different ISOs to.
The limit is per folder. So in one folder, you can have 20 ISOs, but you can have multiple folders. There's really no limit.
Wow.
I mean, how I've got mine set out is obviously I have my main ISO folder, and then I have tools, antivirus software, and then just like utilities, and then I have like live CDs in a different folder. So you're never gonna run out of space.
That's
See, I didn't know that. I thought it was just 20, and that was all you could do. That even makes it more interesting.
Yeah. Definitely recommend it to anyone, especially if you're doing lots of PC repairs or you're working on lots of netbooks or no CD-ROM drives, or just just a lot easier.
Just say even if you had 20 options for the price of what that is, by the time you bought 20 flash drives, it'd be more cumbersome to handle them. Plus, you'd end up with the same price in it basically. I mean, I know you got to get the hard drive in there, but
yeah, I mean it's obviously a little bit bigger than a flash drive, I mean, I carry a couple of flash drives on my keys,
not a handful,
just in case, but it's still pocket size. You can still carry it about, put it in your toolkit, and just forget about it, basically.
Yeah. Now, does the Zalman have write-back protection?
It does. There's a little switch on the VE200, so you can do it read-only. But saying that is quite interesting. You said that. I can't actually see that on the USB 3 edition.
That would be a big downfall, I'd think, if it's not on the 3.
I'm really gutted if they haven't got the right protection on it.
So you put any hard drive in that, Jason? I'm sorry, did I miss that?
Yeah, any SATA hard drive you can put onto that caddy.
It's any 2.5-inch SATA, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And on the VE200, you've got both. You've got USB 2, and then you've got eSATA. But it looks like on the VE300, you've just got USB 3.
Right.
Which is going to be 5 gigabytes per second, isn't it? So
yeah.
I can't remember what eSATA is. I think it's probably about the same rate, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit lower if I remember right.
Didn't Timster just have the flash drive crash of 2011 here a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, he replaced it already.
Oh, did he get his Zalman?
I don't know. He bought some. It was kind of. I'm not sure what he bought, but it was kind of.
He bought.
Pricey,
I think he bought a couple other. He bought another flash drive, I believe.
But
it was a lockable flash drive.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I guess. Well, like Jason was showing, you kind of need a flash drive just for the real, quickies. But that Zalman is nice. That's cool. How you can, boot from that, whatever.
Flash drives are very handy. I don't like the ones that's got the caps on the end, because like this Data Traveler, there's nothing wrong with the flash drive, but that cap comes off all the time, and then you lose the cap. And
right. Yeah, I bought Terry, I bought a just going the cheap route. I was at Micro Center and bought an SD card, SD to USB. And I figured, well, I can, I think it's like an 8 gigabyte SD card for I think it was like $4. And they had a $4 converter. So for $8, I had like 8 gigabyte, flash drive, lockable. So which is the reason I wanted to go that route. But that $4, you get what you pay for, is what I'm trying to say. That $4 thing, I mean, it's still working, but the caps on both ends have completely fallen off. They're gone. I mean, they won't stay on, and but it does still work.
I did that too, Freddie. I did the same thing. I brought one of those flash drives, for a camera, and I got
I got one of them too.
Yeah, I've got
well, that's what I like
you
about
get,
it.
Mitch?
You lock that SD card. And,
Have you ever tried yours to see? Because not all of those will let the write protection work for some reason. Some of them you can still write back.
That is 100% true, Terry. Thank you for bringing that up. I learned that. I learned that the hard way.
Here's the one I got. It's a cheap one, Targus. Yeah.
I think mine's a Kodak.
Mine,
That's a fancy.
very similar to that. Actually, mine is no, mine's not a Targus. Actually.
Have you tried to write back to the card?
I don't even know if I ever used it. I think I used it once. No, I don't think I have. I don't even know
like
what.
Mine's a cheap Kodak, and I know it will block you from writing back. But I've seen quite a few that even locking the SD card, you put them in there and you can still write right back to them.
Yeah. I that first one I bought was that way. You could write right back to it even with it locked. So you definitely want to check that out if you're going to go that route.
Yeah. All right, but so where are we at in the show here?
I think we are getting close to being done.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention. I think was it you had talked about that? What was that? What's it called? The carrier. Let me look at
Carrier IQ.
Yeah. Let me.
Oh, I checked my new Android phone, and it does not have it on it according to Voodoo Carrier IQ app.
I need to check.
So there.
Oh,
what about how did you get on with the church today, Freddie? You haven't mentioned that yet.
Oh! Thanks for bringing that up. The build has been approved.
Which one did they go for then?
Well,
the
they
AMD
have.
or the Intel?
That's up to me. Me and the other guy from the church or the other guy from the church and I are going to sit down and hammer it out. But I haven't. So all I know is that they talked about it at the board meeting last night that it was approved.
Did you end up with?
Sorry,
Fred. What options did you actually end up with? What processors and stuff?
Well, I don't know yet. I was talking to a couple guys in the Podnuts forum, the chat, and Johnny, he's telling me not to go with an Intel chip, with an i3 or 5. He's saying go with an AMD and save the money because we're not going to use it, which we're not.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm kind of at a loss here.
I know Johnny likes a lot of the AMD chips. That kind of brings me to something else. I've been having some laptops and stuff people's been getting people for Christmas. They've been bringing them to me to set them up. And I got one that's a Gateway. It's an NV55S24U. But it has an AMD quad-core processor. It's an A6 3400. Now, even like on the the benchmarks and stuff like that, it doesn't do quite as much as my i5, but I was really kind of impressed with that laptop for what it is. I mean, it actually runs pretty good, and that's what it's got, that AMD in there. So, yeah,
I'm kind of leaning. I don't know. I really don't know because you're gonna save probably what, $75. Maybe a little bit more going with the AMD.
Depending on the time and the price and stuff like that. Yeah. Now, I don't believe that, like, if it says 1 point something gigahertz or whatever, or 2 gigahertz, I may be wrong on this. Someone correct me if I am wrong, but doesn't Intel and AMD kind of, what do you want to do? Like, judge or their ratings are different? Like, just because it's a 1 gig on a Intel doesn't mean 1 gig on AMD is going to be the same speed.
They used to use that PR rating. I think AMD at one time, performance
that's
rating
what I was trying
something.
to say. Different rating.
Right.
But isn't the AMDs usually normally look like they're lower than the Intels?
If it's rated 2 gigahertz, so it's rated 2 gigahertz, isn't it? It's just a standard, so.
Right. Yeah, I would think so.
I can't imagine, Intel saying, "Oh, this chip's 2 gigahertz," and then AMD saying, "This chip's 2 gigahertz," but they're not the same speed. I mean, it doesn't make any sense, does it?
Right. Well, Jason's on the show here. I guess you'd call him the resident gaming rig computer builder expert guy. So, I mean, So what's your opinion on that, Jason? AMD over Intel for a basically a computer
this goes back many, many years. This mass discussion about what's better, AMD or Intel. I mean, I can remember when I was on the K62 processors from AMD. The 550s and
you were born
the 500s.
I remember.
Yeah.
He was knee high to a grasshopper.
I remember those processors. I mean, I used to be an AMD from the get-go, pretty much. And I think one day someone sold me a P3 800, I think it was. And ever since I had that processor, it was so much quicker than the AMD processors that were out at the time. I just made the crossover to it, and I've never looked back since. I think AMD I just think they're just so far behind Intel at the moment. I mean,
you are right.
I think you're right too. I think you're right that they are behind, and you're getting a better processor, obviously. But you also, when you're talking about better price and functionality of what you're going to do with that, come in.
You're talking about two different things, though, aren't you? Right, when you're talking about price and performance.
No, when you're talking about better, what I'm saying is what's better.
Yeah, well.
So I don't know.
Hey,
Phenom,
Jason, why don't you go over quickly what's in your rig, your high-end rig?
Well, I'm currently running an i7 2600K, which is overclocked to 4.6 gigahertz. Wow. I'm running Patriot 16 gig RAM, which is 1600, which is also overclocked. I'm running a 2 terabyte Western Digital Caviar Black SATA 3 hard drive, alongside a 1 terabyte. I think that is actually a Western Digital Black again, which is SATA 2. I'm on an Asus motherboard, which I can't remember the name, and I'm also.
And that's all on air, right?
Yeah, this is all on air cooling, which is the Noctua D14 fan, I think it's called, which is a really, really good fan. Definitely recommend this. And if you listen to the Tech Chat show tomorrow, Brytech, I think, is going to mention the fan tomorrow on the show, because I think they're talking about air cooling as well. And I think he's also mentioned the case as well that we both have, which is the HAFX, which is a really, really nice case.
Yeah, that's a nice case.
It's really, really high quality. It's a Cooler Master case. It's got so many fan slots on. I mean, at the front, there's a big 230mm fan. On the side panel, it's a 200mm fan. At the top, you've got options for two 200mm fans. You've got then, I think it's a 140 exhaust fan. Obviously, you've got the CPU fan and everything. And then there's actually a VGA duct fan as well, which is a 120mm, which I've got all the fans in the case. And it's running super cool. At 4.6, wow. I think I don't see any temperatures go over 55, so it's pretty decent.
Size-wise, how does that case compare to the one Tim has?
The one that totally different. I don't know, to be honest, because he's still water cooled in that case, isn't he? I think.
Oh, yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, so
it's
different.
Like the size of a server.
But a lot of people doesn't put much emphasis in the case when they go to build a computer, and the case is really means a lot. I mean, you can't cram too much in a small case or you start having the heating problems. And
definitely.
Well,
this case is massive. Build. I mean, there's so much space. I mean, you could probably fit a dual rad at the top of this case and probably even more, and even on the back. You've got also water cooling pipe exit holes at the back. So you can put the reservoir or the pump or whatever it is out the back of the case. It's a really good case, but it does come with a bit of a price tag. I think I paid about £130 for it. I think so.
Wow.
It's quite pricey, but it is high end, very high end.
Yeah, they're nice. I looked at them when you were talking about when you were building that. That's nice.
Very, very good. I'm very, very jealous.
Yeah, just to mention,
I'm rocking the Inspiron 531, baby.
Just to mention my graphics card, I've got a GTX 580 palette branded, which is 3 gig.
How many gigs of RAM do you have in your Jason?
16.
Too many.
16, I mean, yeah, okay.
People will say you'll never use 16 gigs of RAM, and that pretty much
well,
right.
Brian won't.
Yeah, Brian never will. Yeah,
pretty cheap at the moment, so you need to take advantage of that and pump your system as much RAM as what you can at the moment. I mean, I can't imagine it's going to go any